All right, this is your quiz 5 study guide. You got a study guide? Okay, problems number 1 and 2. Are the same, not the same, but they're similar. So I'll do one of those as an example. So problem number 1 here. Write an equation of a line in point slope form that passes through the two given points. So if you're given the 2 points, negative 16 and 6, 2 and negative 3, and you have to write an equation in point slope form, the first thing you need is the slope. So your slope is going to be equal to negative 3 minus 6 divided by 2 minus negative 16. Negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9 over 18 gives you a negative 1/2. Now, if you glance through your answers, you can see they're using the 6 and the 16. So they're using this point. So, point slope form, we go to the letter y, and the opposite of our y value equals the slope. Left parenthesis, letter x, and the opposite of the x value. So, positive 16. Bless you. There's your equation in point slope form. Find the slope first. Scan your answers. Determine which point they're using. Write the equation in point slope form. Problem number 3. So this is like 1. This was like 1 and 2. Problem number 3. What is an equation of the line in point slope form that passes through the given point and has the given slope? If your point is 7, negative 2, and your slope is equal to 2, it is y, and the opposite of your y equals the slope times x, and the opposite of your x. Number 4. You're asked, what is an equation of the given line in standard form? Use integer coefficients. All right, standard form is ax plus by is equal to c. So we need to put our line, our equation, in this form. The equation is given to you as y equals 3/7 x minus 15. So we need this 3/7 x on the left side of the equal sign. So we subtract 3/7 x from each side. So we get negative 3/7 x plus y is equal to negative 15. Now they ask for this using integer coefficients. So we have to multiply everything by 7 to get rid of this fraction here. So the whole left side gets multiplied by 7 and the right side. So 7 times negative 3/7 is negative 3 with the x, plus your 7 times y is 7y, equals negative 105. So there's your line. in standard form with integer coefficients. And then number 5, they're giving you y is equal to negative 3.3 x plus 10.5. So we got to do the same thing. We got to move the x to the other side. So we're going to add 3.3x. And the result is 3.3x plus your y is equal to 10.5. Now, since you need integer coefficients and you've got decimals in the 10th place, you multiply everything by 10. So 10 times 3.3x, that's 33x plus 10y equals 10.5 times 10. That's 105. So there's your line in standard form with integer coefficients. Yes, sir. Okay. 7 because of this right here. All right. If this would have been a 3/5, then we multiply by 5. Whatever's in that denominator, because when you multiply a fraction by whatever's in the denominator, see how it got rid of the fraction? Over here, we have decimals in the 10th place and the 10ths place. So we multiply by 10. If it was 3.35x plus y equals 10.72, now we have decimals in the hundredths place, right? So we would multiply by 100. That gets rid of the decimals. All right, numbers 6 and 7 are very similar to each other. I'll do one of those. So this is 6 and 7. Yeah, as soon as my finger will move the screen. Where at? Six and 7, you're asked to write the equation in slope-intercept form. And then you're asked to determine the slope and the y-intercept. So you're given an equation now in standard form. You got a negative 12x plus 10y equals negative 3. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. The m is your slope, the b is your y-intercept. So you need to make the equation on the left look like the one on the right. So you got to get the 12x on the other side of the equal sign. So you do that by adding 12x to each side. So your 10y is equal to 12x minus 3. So you're one step closer. You got to get this y by itself. In order to do that, you divide everything by 10. So y is going to be equal to 12 divided by 10, or 12/10. That's 6/5. X minus 3 over 10 is 3 over 10. So there's your equation in slope-intercept form. Your slope is 6/5. Your y-intercept is -3/10. Number 8. -5x plus y equals -5. Probably the easiest way to solve this problem, to graph this problem, is just write the equation again. In the equation on the left, just eliminate the x, and in the equation on the right, eliminate the y. So you get y is equal to -5, and if on the right you divide both sides by -5, then x is equal to 1. These are intercepts. So your graph the graph of that original equation is going to hit the x-axis at 1. Oh, you're kidding. Technical difficulties. Well, that doesn't look like where we're at, does it? Get a All right, here we go. Do we still have the Zoom people here? Let's see. I need to be sharing this. Try this again. Share the whiteboard. I wonder if it's still recording. Oh, looks like it is. All right. So here we go. We got to graph this thing now. All right, this line is going to hit the x-axis at 1. So we put a point on 1, and it's going to hit the y-axis at -5. So down here at -5, it's going to hit the y. And then there's your graph. So scratch out the x, solve for y. Scratch out the y, solve for x. Those are the two places that the line hits the x and y axis. And you can plot it. Or you can match the graph. Number 9, it's kind of the same type of problem. You are given 5x minus 6y equals negative 30. They're asking you, what are the intercepts of the equation? Just write it again. Equals negative 30. In the first equation, get rid of the x. Second equation, get rid of the y. And solve for each variable. So divide by negative 6. Your y is equal to 5. Divide by 5. And your x is equal to negative 6. So those are the two places that the line will hit the respective axes. Okay, and then we move into the short answer problems, which there's short answer in your study guide, but there'll be multiple choice tomorrow. So in number 1, again, the second number 1 in the short answer. What are the solutions of the following systems? 2x plus 3y equals 3. Negative 6x minus 9y is equal to negative 9. All right, so we're trying to eliminate a variable by combining the equations. And right now, if we combine the equations, nothing will be eliminated. So if we multiply the top equation by 3, when we multiply the top equation by 3, 2x times 3 is 6x. 3x times 3 is positive 9y. I'm sorry. And 3 times 3 is 9. And if you can see this, what's that? It's infinite solutions, isn't it? Because if you combine these, you get 0 equals 0. The other thing that is going on here.
Teachers at this time, this is for the 37 building only, a fire drill. Please report to site B. This is for the 37 building only. Fire drill, report to site B.
This is infinite solutions. Infinite solutions. And really, for a couple different reasons. In this first step, okay, if we would have divided both sides by negative 3, negative 6x divided by negative 3 is 2x. Negative 9y divided by negative 3 is positive 3y. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is positive 3. Well, that equation is the same as that equation. They're the same line. All right? So if you graphed them, they would be on top of each other. Infinite solutions. Number 2, we got a negative 3x plus y equals negative 1. 12x minus 4y equals 0. So you get to choose what variable you want to eliminate first. I'm going to get rid of the x's when I combine. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by 4. Multiplying the top equation by 4 gives a negative 12x plus a 4y. What is this? Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Yep, look what happens. You get 12x minus 4y equals 0. When you combine on the left, the x's and the y's disappear, so you get a 0 equals negative 4. And when 0 is equal to negative 4 and you haven't made any mistakes, there's no solution. Parallel lines. The lines are parallel to each other. Okay, number 3. And number 3, let's see, a 6-mile cab ride costs $3.60. So if you travel 6 miles, it costs $3.60. If you travel 10 miles, it costs $5.20. Find a linear equation that models a relationship between the cost and the distance. Let's see. This is your distance, and this is your cost. This is your distance, and this is your cost. So the first thing we're going to do here, we've got 2 points. We're going to find the slope. The slope, because we're looking to write an equation, is going to be 5.2 minus 3.6. Why did I just do that? 5.2, not over 3.6, minus 3.6. 5.2 minus 3.6 divided by 10 minus 6. So we get 1.6 over 4. And 1.6 divided by 4 equals 0.4. So now we're going to take that slope. All right, and I'm going to use this first point, and we're going to write an equation in point slope form. So y minus 3.6 equals the slope, which is 0.4, times x minus 6. Now, if that's an answer choice, you're done, because that is a linear equation. If all your options, though, are in multiple choice, you have to distribute the slope. So you would get y minus 3.6 equals 0.4x minus 2.4. And then you would add 3.6 to each side. So y equals 0.4x. What's that? Negative 2.4 plus 3.6. I'd say it's positive 1.2. So there's a linear equation. Now, I used x's and y's. You can go back here at the end and say that c is equal to 0.4 times the distance plus 1.2. Because the cost depends on the distance, right? The cost depends on the distance. All right, number 4 is back to a system. And I got x plus y equal to 7 and 2x minus y equal to 2. The directions say solve by substitution, but you don't have to follow the directions because this is set up right now to just solve by elimination. If you combine these two equations, x plus 2x is 3x. Negative y or positive y minus y is 0, so your 3x equals 9, and you can divide by 3, and your x equals 3. And if you know that x equals 3, you go back to either equation, and where there's an x, you put a 3. So 3 plus y equals 7. Subtract 3 from each side, and y equals 4. Those are your x and y values. That make both equations true. Number 5. X minus 2y equals negative 3. X minus y equals negative 1. Be very easy here to eliminate the x's. You could multiply the bottom equation by negative 1. When you do that, all you got to do is change the sign of everything in there. So in the bottom, you get negative x plus y equals 1. The top equation stays the same. And now you can combine them. And when you combine them, the x's go away. X minus x is 0. Negative 2y plus y is negative y equals negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Divide by negative 1. So your y is equal to 2. If your y is equal to 2, you can go back to either equation and substitute. So x minus 2 equals negative 1. You can add 2 to each side, and your x equals...
Teachers, at this time, we are going to shelter in place. At this time, shelter in place until you hear another announcement.
Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. So there's your solutions. X is equal to 1 and y equals 2. Alan, make sure that door's locked for me. Thank you. All right, so 5, 6, and 7. I'm gonna rewrite this here. This is covering same technique for 5, 6, and 7. All right. You do the problem the same way. And then we're down to number 8, the last problem on the short answer. Is just like or very similar to number 3. A cannery processes 665 pounds of strawberries in 4.5 hours. So your 4.5 is your X or your H. Your 665 is your P or pounds. All right? The more they work, the more they process. The cannery processes 1330 in 8 hours.
Teachers, at this time, shelter in place has been lifted. Shelter in place has been lifted.
Write a linear equation to model the relationship between the weight of the strawberries, S, I guess I used the wrong variables. Come on, baby. Okay. The weight of the strawberry is S. And time. So we're going to find the slope like we did earlier. Slope equals 1330 minus 665 over 8 minus 4.5. That is 665 over 3.5. And 665 divided by 3.5, that is 190. So then we're going to write an equation. Going to use first data point. And we're going to go y minus 665 equals the slope times x minus 4.5. There's your linear equation in point slope form. If we distribute this slope, we get 190x minus 855. If we add 665 to each side, then y is equal to 190x minus 190. Or you can say that your S is equal to your S is equal to 190t minus 190. And then they ask, how many pounds of strawberries can be processed in 9 hours? How many pounds can be processed in 9 hours? So you take your S, you make it equal to 190 times 9 minus 190. And 190 times 9 minus 190. That's the same as 190 times 8, which is 1,520. That's a lot of pounds of strawberries. It's also a lot of time. 8 hours. That's a long time. All right, that concludes study guide for quiz number 5. If you're absent tomorrow, make sure you do the quiz online. If you're an e-learner, make sure you do your quiz the way you normally do. You guys that are in school, I'm not going to be here tomorrow, so it's kind of a no-brainer, but if there's a sign on the door that tells you to go somewhere else, just go to wherever the sign says and do what you normally do and hand your quiz to whoever's watching you on the way out. Good. I would recommend right now that you, I don't know, maybe go back and do some of the problems that I didn't do using your notes. I'm sure most of you won't, but that's what I would recommend you do. You guys that are at home, you are excused at this time. And I am going to end this Zoom meeting as soon as I can access this toolbar up here.